ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, well, I think what I would like to do is to just present you in a different language, and Professor Harichandra's presentation is most of the form of a medical professional who is an expert in the psychology. So I would like to convey the same message in a different language, language of a student of history, and වගේ මම භාෂා දෙකෙන්ම කතා කරන්න කැමතියි. මහාචාර්ය හරිචන්ද්‍ර ඉදිරිපත් කරපු අදහස ටිකක් වෙනත් භාෂාවකින්. And also, unfortunately, I couldn't prepare a presentation that is mainly due to the tragic demise of one of my best friends and colleagues, and some of those who are in this forum know Dr. Janaki Jayawardena, and who actually campaigned tirelessly. Is one of the pillars of our education, the campaign for better education since 2011, and so therefore I was busy with the funeral arrangement, and I would like to dedicate my presentation to her memory. And so there are, without saying much, I would like to reiterate as to why I have been engaging in the public discourse of education, the transformation of education over the last, more than a decade now. And why I consider education has to be a top priority. So that's at the center of when we initiated this the campaign. 6% of the GDP for education. So there have been a lot of criticisms, and so there are a lot of concerns about this number 6%, whether it is practically possible, and all kind of discussion. But there's a very simple message that we wanted to convey. When you launch a campaign, you need attractive slogans. So we found out that the 6% is the wonderful, way to convey this message. Message is very simple, that education has to be given a top priority, particularly in the budgetary allocation for state and also for nation. So that's the rationale behind calculating the expenses for education in relation to the GDP. And so there are a lot of people asking about the rationale behind it, how practical, and also this is the simple objective. So what I would like to answer is why we have to give a priority to education. So there may be many people would say that public, the defense, public security, and economic. So there are many other concerns while education, the importance of education is taken into consideration. But I think that all other things would depend ultimately on how good education of a modern state is. මෙන්න විදිහින් කියනවා නම් මම මූලික වශයෙන් මතු කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන ප්‍රශ්නය තමයි අධ්‍යාපනය සමාජයක නූතන සමාජවල ප්‍රමුඛත්වයට පත්විය යුතු වන්නේ ඇයි? විශේෂයෙන්ම ඔබ දන්නවා ඇති ඔය තාම මතභේදාත්මක 6% කැම්පේන් එක නැත්නම් දලදේශීය නිෂ්පාදිතයෙන් 6% අධ්‍යාපනයට අවශ්‍යයි කියන මේ ව්‍යාපාරය ඒ ඉලක්කම පිළිබඳ විවිධ ප්‍රශ්න තිබුණා. නමුත් ඒකේ තිබුණා එක වැදගත් පණිවිඩයක්. ඒ පණිවිඩය තමයි අධ්‍යාපනයට රාජ්‍යයේ බජටරි ඇලොකේෂන් රාජ්‍ය වියදම් වලින් පමණක් නොවේ මුළු රටක් විදිහට ප්‍රමුඛත්වය ලැබිය යුතුයි කියලා. ඒ නිසා තමයි මේ අර 106 කියන එක මේ දලදේශීය නිෂ්පාදිතයට සාපේක්ෂ අගයක් විදිහට ඉදිරිපත් වුණේ. ඉතින් මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ අදහස් කීපයක් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. ඇයි මේ ප්‍රමුඛත්වය මේක පිටිපස්සේ තිබෙන යුක්තිසහගතභාවය කුමක්ද කියන එක. So my approach to education is mainly based on the premise that modern societies are fundamentally different from all the other forms of societies that existed before. For a number of reasons. The first and foremost, the modern societies are democratic societies. Why do you say that? Democratic? I mean, perhaps what I mean by democracy and democratic society not maybe the same as the most popular political definition of democracy. So you have what Lincoln famously said, the government of the people, by the people, for the people. So that's perhaps that would go everything that come under democracy to that definition. But so I would give a broader civilizational meaning to democracy because one of the major assumptions, the characteristics, feature of the modern society is that every individual in a modern society is considered to be equally has equal rights. Everyone is equal. So that's the basis of American Declaration of Independence as well. Even though at that time, when the declaration was prepared, it was not practically so. There were slaves. There were the blacks who were not considered to be But that notion is there. Everyone is equal. So that's perhaps that's the basic. That's the basis on which the people demanded, legitimized. So their demand for equal treatment. So now actually it is a universal norm that every individual is equal. And so even in America, even Elon Musk, who is considered to be probably the most powerful individual on earth at this moment, in my view more powerful than Donald Trump, and a person who is sleeping, the homeless person in New York's city, has only one vote. Right? So that's the bottom line. Right? So that's why normatively modern societies are democratic. So that's the basis of constitutional arrangements and everything. And so therefore, you have to, and then, but that's not the practical arrangement of societies. The way our societies are actually organized is not necessarily along with this democratic norm. Right? So therefore, there is a massive gap between what democracy promise, right? Actually, what famous philosopher Jacques Derrida famously said, democracy is a promise. It's a promise. And there's a gap between this promise and what actually exists. මේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදය කියන එක පොරොන්දුවක්. මේ පොරොන්දුව සහ ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම තියෙන අතර ගැප් එකක් තියෙනවා. right? දැන් ඊළඟට ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි කොහොමද මේකට මේ এডুকেෂන් සම්බන්ධ වෙන්නේ කියලා. right? දැන් මේ අධ්‍යාපන මේ ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී සමාජයේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නයක් තමයි දැන් අපේ නූතන සමාජය අපි කියමු මේ නූතන සමාජයේ ඒකේ ප්‍රධාන නෝම් එක ප්‍රධාන ප්‍රතිමානය ප්‍රජාතන්ත්‍රවාදී වෙනවා වගේම මේ සමාජයේ අපි ජීවත් වෙන මේ යුගයේ ලක්ෂණ ගණනාවක් තිබෙනවා. එකක් තමයි අපේ සමාජයේ ජනගහන ඝනත්වයේ විශාල වශයෙන් වර්ධනය වෙලා තිබෙනවා. ඒ විශාල ජනගහනය නිසා මේ ජනගහනයේ හැසිරීම සඳහා මීට පෙර වෙනත් ක්‍රම තිබුණා. උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අපි බැලුවොත් ඔය සිටි ස්ටේට්ස් වගේ ඒවා යම්කිසි ආකාරයකට සංවිධානය වෙලා තිබුණා. So the large number of population has been separated. So the society has hierarchically organized and segmented. And so there were certain segments, particularly in the cities, they had privilege. And now actually, even though there are privileges, this democratic norm has given every individual in the society to demand for equal rights. And so then it has created a massive chaos, to say the least. And then, amidst all this situation, so we have a challenging task as to how a modern, individual who is capable of living in this complex world define himself and herself. And so that definition, the citizenship, the idea of citizenship has developed out of that situation. And then, I think my time is already gone. Now the challenge is how to build this citizenship. So this is only what I have to say. As far as I understand, the education is if not the all, but perhaps the most effective way that we can imagine to build that citizenship, to produce that citizen. So therefore, the challenge of education, any education system, is to organize it in such a way that it is capable of producing this good citizenship, without which a modern society cannot function. So that's the bottom line. But now we have moved far away from that ideal for various historical reasons and structural reasons. Now actually, so then we started this discussion, this discourse, in the context of this deteriorating state of education, and also in the context of the dire need to revitalize this original, the democratic modern imagination of education, right? So therefore this is an important milestone of this journey of, I think, more than 2 years. And so I would like to invite you to deliberate on this issue. So we want to bring more prominent people, who are very important in policy making and all that. But unfortunately, for various reasons, we have not managed to, come to that level. But still there's a forum that were capable in discussing this. Okay, well, let me finish my brief introduction, and I wish that we will be able to have a very good discussion. Thank you.